We're joined on the phone by Ryan Vanasse Jr. Of course, he is a driver in the Legends Series at Seekonk on Friday nights. Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Absolutely. So always like to jump right into things and ask you how you caught the racing bug.
Honestly, it's kind of just been in my family for my life. Ever since back in the 80s, my grandpa, Paul Vanasse, used to race at Seekonk every Saturday. Then it kind of just went down with my dad. He started racing with the Formula 4s, and he worked his way up until I was born. And I kind of just caught the bug from the family, as I'm a third-generation racer in the Vanasse family.
So, very successful season last year in the Bandolero Outlaws at Seekonk. You made the move up this season to the Legends cars. Talk to us a little bit about how the transition's been.
The transition's kind of a big change, because instead of going from just the gas and the brake, you also have to use the clutch to get off. And that was quite the big change for me, and I'm still struggling with that. Also, the shifter, getting used to it, but I've adapted over the shifter quickly. The biggest part is just racecraft. You got to figure out that line that you really got to do while you're racing with a bunch of other people up in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, everywhere else.
What part about your racecraft do you try and get better at each time you're on the track, each time you have track time?
Honestly, it's the beginning of the races. I'm just not aggressive enough, and it always happens to me every week where I just fade back. But then once I get the groove of myself, I get right back up there, but I just got to get used to being aggressive throughout the entire race so that I could do better myself.
So you had a podium finish a couple of weeks ago in the Legends on a Friday night. Obviously, some of you guys who've moved up from different divisions at Seekonk have had some success this year. Brent Robideau, obviously, another one. Talk to us about what it meant to get a podium this early on.
It feels nice just getting a podium right now, because we just went through so much stuff that I shouldn't have brought myself into, wrecks. I mean, I could have avoided some, but we were just there, and it's just one of those weeks where we just try to get better for next week. And it just felt really good to have our podium.
So Ryan, I was there a couple weeks ago when you get your third in that marathon race, but your patience that you talk about, that really paid off. And honestly, I think you do coming soon. You just got to keep grinding like you're grinding. It's going to work out for you.
Yeah, it's just I still got to get used to obviously the racecraft through everyone else, but I've definitely seen progression in myself going from a Bando to a Legend car, and how I could make the gaps open, or if there's gaps open, just try to go for it, see what happens, and yeah, I mean, just try to make as much passes as I can, and try to get the lead and do the best I can.
Ryan, outside of racing, what do you like to do with your time? Do you like to play sports? What do you do outside?
So right now I am doing high school football in my freshman year, and I play middle linebacker.
Love it.
And yeah, and I usually just work on the car too, just to get it ready and better for every weekend for all the tracks we go to, just like Seekonk and a bunch of other tracks.
Ryan, how I was I guess self-taught. I was first generation race car driver in my group. How important is your father and your grandfather who can give you this information so that you can expand on it? Because I mean, to me, I think it's huge.
Yeah, it definitely is huge, because I mean, you have to take what they tell you and just try to learn it the best you can. And if you struggle on it, you just try to work and improve on it for next week. And it's better when you have two of your best people in your life, like my grandpa Paul Vanasse and my dad Ryan Vanasse. just giving me the best tips that I can so that I can work on for this race and all the other races.
Yeah, your dad knows how to get around that place too. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
So Ryan, for the obviously closing in on the playoffs in the Legends cars at Seekonk Speedway coming up in a couple of weeks, but what more do you want to get out of this season to consider it a success?
My biggest goal right now is obviously finishing all the races, try to not damage the car, and just want to buy parts that would make me faster. And obviously keep having those top fives that I had that last week, that last race. Obviously, we would want to go for Rookie of the Year and go for top 10, even though we missed 2 races. But that's pretty much our goal right now. And if we could try to go for the win.
So another question I have for you, too, to kind of make the pitch for Seekonk Speedway. Obviously, I think the one thing that I find cool is, you guys are racing on Friday night, but a lot of you kids are in the pits on Saturday working on cars and even in the stands as fans. So for somebody who might be listening tonight who hasn't been down to Seekonk, tell us why they should come on out to the Action Track of the East.
I mean, it's the best racetrack in New England. I mean, you got the best race cars out there, like Bobby Dunn, Dylan Estrella, Vinny Aranagano. You got Jacob Burns, Luke LeBron, Chip Pepe. They're just the best racers around there. Street Stocks put on the best show out there, and the late models and the trucks. You got the Pro Stocks. They always put on a great show every week, and it's always a surprise who wins in each of those divisions because they just put on such a great show.
So Ryan, I know Seekonk's your favorite track, but what do you like about venturing out and running at these other tracks every now and then and just kind of improving the skills on a different place?
Racing against other people, and other tracks is just going to help you better with your racecraft. It's just going to help you with more experience. You're new to the sport. It's a place where you could get better and better to the point where you're going to start winning races, and it's going to be really competitive up there.
When inevitably you're too good for the Legends cars, what do you picture yourself driving after Legends?
We're thinking about late models, and then probably after that would probably be Pro Stock, and we would see from there.
I know. I can tell you, Ryan's been in some of the living room races that happen on my house with all the Matchbox cars because when Paul gets out and starts playing, he doesn't share the info with me, but I hear him talking. He's like, "Oh, Ryan Vanasse Jr. comes out of turn 4." So you got fans. He's a young guy, but my son's one of your biggest fans. He's watching every Friday night.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I just want to make everyone in the grandstands proud and just make everyone happy. It's a great place, like Seekonk Speedway. Show what you have talent-wise, and just obviously the biggest thing is your mentality of how you handle it on and off the track, and how it's just and how you act as a person to everyone, every single person that you talk to. So
another important, obviously, you want to plug the folks who help you with your racing career. Talk to us about some of the sponsors on the car, and if people want to learn more about your young career, how can they do so?
When you want to get your career started, obviously you want to get into video games. Obviously, you just try to race against other people and get used to it. And once you get really good at it, you could probably ask your parents to buy you a race car, and they would probably hopefully do that for you, and hopefully that could work out for them.
Any sponsors on the car you want to thank?
Yeah, I just obviously want to thank my dad, my entire family, just always there, supporting me ever since, obviously, I've been here my entire life. I just want to thank all my sponsors, Ocean State Oil, International Studio, Bretman Lumber, Rick Martin Race Cars, EP Concepts, VF Lawns, Homestead Realty, NA Auto Parts, Flagman Graphics, and our new sponsor, ProLux Electrical Court.
Excellent. Speaking like a true pro already, Ryan Vanasse Jr. joining us here in our In the Turn interview, sponsored by Brightman Lumber this week. Ryan, always a pleasure. We will see you at the racetrack this coming weekend, and talk to you soon.
Yep. Thank you, Mom, for having me on this great podcast.
Appreciate it.